This American soldier survived World War II. He survived combat. He survived enemy fire. He survived the battlefield. But he never made it home. This is a true story. In early 1945, the war in Europe was drawing to a close. A palpable sense of relief and anticipation swept through the ranks of American soldiers. After years of brutal conflict, the end was finally in sight. For these men, the thoughts of home were no longer just a distant dream, but a tangible reality on the horizon. They started preparing, not for another battle, but for the long journey back across the Atlantic. Letters, once filled with the grim realities of war, now carried a new tone, one of hope and promise. Soldiers wrote to their families, their words painting pictures of reunions and a return to normalcy. "I'll be home soon," they promised. "We'll have that dinner. We'll go to that game." On the home front, these letters were treasures. Families waited with bated breath. Mothers, who had spent countless nights in prayer, began to see their prayers answered. Wives and sweethearts marked calendars, counting down the days until their loved ones would step off a train or a ship back into their arms. For so many, the long, dark night of war was finally over. The fighting had stopped, the guns had fallen silent, and the world was beginning to heal. Among the millions of soldiers who had endured the horrors of the First World War was a young man from Baltimore, Maryland, Private Henry Gunther. Like so many others, Henry had been thrust into the crucible of combat. He had seen things no person should ever have to see. He had navigated treacherous trenches, faced down enemy machine guns, and lived with the constant, gnawing fear of death. He had witnessed the loss of friends, comrades who fought beside him one day and were gone the next. The weight of it all was immense. Yet, through it all, Henry survived. He held on to the thought of home like a lifeline. In quiet moments, between the deafening roars of artillery, he would talk with his fellow soldiers about the lives they had left behind. He spoke of his family, of the simple pleasures he missed most. He dreamed of his mother's cooking, the taste of a real meal not from a can. He yearned for the mundane, beautiful rhythm of normal life, walking down a familiar street, sleeping in his own bed, feeling safe. Henry believed with all his heart that he was going to make it. He had come this far. He had survived the worst of it. He was going to live. On the morning of November 11th, 1918, a ripple of incredible news spread like wildfire along the Western Front. After 4 long years of unprecedented bloodshed, an armistice had been signed. The war, the Great War, was officially ending. The ceasefire would take effect at precisely 11 o'clock that morning, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. An incredible wave of relief and joy washed over the battle-scarred landscape. Soldiers who had been enemies just moments before cautiously emerged from their trenches. Some laughed, the sound foreign and strange after years of gunfire. Others openly wept, tears of exhaustion, grief, and overwhelming relief streaming down their faces. Many simply stood in stunned silence, trying to process the monumental news. The fighting was over. They had survived. All across the front, soldiers began to lay down their arms. The war was ending. Only minutes remained until the official silence would descend. At 10:59 a.m. on the morning of November 11th, 1918, just one single minute before the armistice was to take effect, Private Henry Gunther, against the orders of his sergeant and the pleas of his comrades, charged a German machine gun nest. The German soldiers, aware that the war was seconds from being over, tried to wave him off. They shouted at him in German and English to go back. But he kept coming, firing his rifle. Left with no choice, they fired a short burst. Henry Gunther was struck and killed instantly. He became the last American soldier, and by many accounts, the very last soldier of any nationality, to be killed in World War I. 1 minute later, at 11 a.m., the war was over. The guns fell silent. As the clock struck 11, an eerie, profound silence fell over the battlefields of Europe. It was a quiet the world hadn't known for over 4 years. Soon, that silence was replaced by the sounds of celebration. Bells rang in Paris, London, and New York. People poured into the streets, embracing strangers, singing and crying with joy. The war to end all wars was finally finished. But back in Baltimore, One American family would receive a telegram that would ensure they would never celebrate this day. Their son, who had survived years of war, had died in its very last minute. History remembers the armistice as a moment of great victory and peace. But for the Gunther family, and countless others like them, it would forever be a day of unimaginable loss. War does not end at the same time for everyone. For the politicians who sign the treaties, it ends with a stroke of a pen. For the world, it ends with a headline. But for a soldier, it only ends when they are safely home. Some make it back, some don't. And some, like Henry Gunther, are taken from us at the very last second, a heartbreaking reminder of the true cost of conflict. Thank you for watching.